Okay, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the past, the present, and the future, which are pretty easy concepts. And you're probably wondering, why am I talking about it? Well, I'm about to prove to you that time travel doesn't exist. And all three of these things right here revolve around consciousness. Sorry, my writing is fairly horrible, but my brain is working like a powerhouse right now. And I want to go ahead and put this knowledge on YouTube. It's just kind of my little corner right now of keeping up with my research and stuff. So yeah, so past, present, and future all revolve around consciousness. Now, I want to go ahead and say the past is a memory. The present is now. And the future is just a prediction. And we all know that, when you talk about the past, you're thinking of like something that happened before. It's just a memory. It lives within inside you. The only person who makes the past is your brain remembering it and the things that you carry with you from it, like learning, or maybe just photos of people back then, or an event that happened before the current one that's happening right now. And the past is basically happening as we speak, because we're making it just as much as we're making the future. When we talk about present, that one's obvious. We're kind of living in the moment. We're like a camera that is recording, but not recorded, right? Like we're just watching. And plugging in the past to that, it would be like the things we've seen. And then we talk about future, and it's a concept that's kind of hard to grasp for people, actually a lot of people today. And they're always trying to find this crazy thing or way to go into the future or make the future happen. Kind of the same with the past, but more with the future. Kind of like how we're talking about quantum mechanics around today's time, and how we can possibly go to the future. Wow. I of course, don't believe that. We'll get around to the proving part in just a little bit. But the future is something we think is going to happen. And we actually predict as we live. Your mind goes on autopilot, and you start spitting out words. And you're predicting the things you want to come out of your mouth. Every movement your hand makes, like I did that just now. But I predicted before I did, which caused me to make that action, right? Kind of like a cause and effect kind of thing. Okay, so let me get to the proving part to show you that it just simply doesn't. I gotta erase that. It's gonna annoy me. All right, let's say this is a square. And so this would be our present. I'm going to address present from now on with a PR, future with a FU, and past with a PA. All right? Very easy. Just remember that. Just abbreviations. So this would be our present. And so the square is going to morph into a triangle. But before this square morphed into a square, it was originally a circle. Makes sense? Like cause, effect, cause, effect. So with that being said, remember how I talked about consciousness, right? And consciousness is basically your awareness of yourself, your brain power, which is something we really like today to talk about and wonder about. It's actually one of the biggest questions of the universe, is like, where did it come from? How does it work? How powerful is it? I'm about to show you how powerful it is. It's powerful enough to disprove time travel. Alright? Alright, now watch this. If we have the future and we have the past, what happened before the past, right? The past again. Because there was a past for every past, right? And so before the circle became a circle, it was a diamond. So we have the past times 2. And for every future, there's always a future. And so after this triangle, it became a star. I'll just say a star. And so this is the future times 2, right? So for every future, there's a future, and for every future's future, there is another future. And for every past, there is, of course, another past. Oh, did I, oops. Okay. So basically, this is what it is. All right. At any moment, one of these has been the present and will be the present. There will always be an action ahead of you and always one behind you. Now, I talked about how there was a trinity of infinity and nothing was a part of the infinity. And it's basically stating that before nothing, there was always nothing. And so the timeline of nothing is just practically infinite. Even if there is something ahead of nothing, even if there's something ahead of nothing, it either becomes nothing again or just not. All right? It's just always something. Either way, it still makes everything before it infinite. All right? And even if, like, nothing had something before it, there was always nothing before that something. And so even that in itself, that pattern or that constant something in the nothing, that is just infinite. It's immeasurable. It is infinite. And so let's plug that into this. And let's say it just goes back. All right. And so it's infinite ahead, infinite behind. And that I proved this, like the whole nothing infinite thing. Or to my knowledge. If you are conscious, then get this. If something has always existed in front of you, an action that is waiting for you to make, and there is something always behind you, then get this. The past is always a puppet that is just going to mimic what you do, what you've already done. So the past doesn't have a consciousness. So scratch that. No consciousness for the past. Get this. Future has already happened. If it's not a prediction and we have to time travel, then it already has to happen. And if it's already happened, that means you've become a puppet. And you're just going to mimic whatever the future does. So at what point along that infinite amount of future, right, did you make the conscious choice to do whatever you've done? All right? Even if the nothing was just not here, eventually There's a you that just straight up died in the future. At what point in your life did you ever make a conscious choice if something always existed before you and you were just mimicking what it already did? That's not possible. So if the past and the future and the present is just like that, and it's just a big bunch of puppets mimicking the thing in front of it, then at what point were you conscious? Because this right here is saying that this does not exist, and we know this exists. So if you were fully aware that you made an action, that means that is a present. But if the present is the past or the future, then how? Just how? It doesn't. Therefore, you cannot time travel. And you're probably like, well, what does that mean? All right. Well, if this is the present, this is the future, and this is the past. Shapes change, sorry. If I went to the future, I just couldn't. Because I'd be mimicking it. I don't know exactly how to make sense of it. But if I'm a mimic of the future, then that would just destroy everything, right? Because I'm supposed to do whatever the future is. But if I go into the future now, basically what that means is it would just be an alternate timeline. So this is what's supposed to happen, and this is what's not. So basically I've just went, if I time traveled, I basically just would have went to a different alternate universe, and or alternate timeline, sorry, and there's like no possible way to get to this point. And this basically just becomes the main timeline, right? But even that's impossible. We can't time travel. Another way of looking at it is, let's say the amount of matter in the universe is 500. All right? That's how much matter is in the universe. This is what makes up everything to ever be known. To time travel, you would have to be in a state that existed in the past and in the future, right? Meaning it would take double the amount of matter that exists now. Meaning that it would just be now 1,000. Like just 1,000 amounts of matter. Double the universe. Which wouldn't make it the universe. It would make it, again, just an alternate timeline. See, not and supposed. In any way you go through this, you're just going on an alternate route than the original intended one. So try your best to disprove all of this, please. I love criticism because I like to learn from it. And I like being corrected in arguments and debates. So, thanks for watching. This is Dive Audio.